Did you receive your property tax appraisal notice in the mail? Maybe you don't agree with the amount assessed by the Travis Central Appraisal District. Well, you have a right to appeal or protest the amount they assessed as your property value. I recently spoke with the district's chief appraiser, Marya Crigler, about how you can file such a protest.
Notices of appraised value are mailed to property owners each year. Usually it occurs in early to mid-April. There are two common reasons why property owners will protest. One of the most common reasons we see is my taxes are just too high. And unfortunately, the fact that your taxes are too high is not something that the appraisal district can address. Our responsibility is to appraise properties at market value, so we can talk to property owners about the market value of their property, but their total tax burden is not something that is addressed by the appraisal district. When you have your taxes and you get your tax bills, the equation to calculate that is based on the appraised value times the tax rate equals the amount of taxes that you have to pay. The appraisal district is the first step. We just determine the appraised value. And the reason why we determine appraised value and market value of properties is because it's trying to distribute that tax burden fairly among all property owners based on the value of their property, so that proportionately they pay a fair share, so that somebody that has a mobile home isn't paying the same amount as somebody that owns a mansion. So the appraised value's role is really just to distribute the tax burden. Ultimately, the tax burden is determined by the taxing entities that set the budget, that provide the services, and they set the tax rates that need to be used in the formula against the appraisal district to determine tax rate, total tax burden. After property owners receive their notice of appraised value, they can file a protest with the appraisal district. There's two ways that they can do that. They can either send a written protest to the appraisal district, or they can file electronically online. On the notice of appraised value that you get, we will include a protest form if you would like to do it by paper, or we'll include the information that you need if you would like to go and you're eligible to file online. We encourage property owners to file their protest electronically. They get into the system sooner, they get resolved sooner. Property owners that want to protest their property, information that they can bring in that is helpful to the appraisal district in making a determination would be, if the property recently sold, a copy of your settlement statement. If you've got condition issues with your property, bring in photographs and repair estimates. Or if they just think that the value of the property is too high compared to their neighbors, bring in comparable sales. You can talk to a local real estate agent and they can provide you with some comparable sales in your neighborhood of properties that have sold, and we'll take into consideration all of that information. Property owners are free to provide whatever other information that they feel might be helpful, but those are the most common. When property owners file a protest, they will get scheduled with two meetings. There'll be an informal meeting that they'll be scheduled for, which is one-on-one with an appraiser, and there'll be a formal hearing meeting that they'll be scheduled for. Informal meetings usually take about 10 minutes. Formal hearings can take 15 to 20 minutes. As the protests are received, property owners will receive a scheduling notice of when their informal meeting is scheduled and when their formal meeting. Due to the high volume of protests that we have, we can't accommodate walk-in informal meetings. But property owners can, if they need to, reschedule their formal hearing. We strongly encourage property owners to come in for their informal meetings. About 90% of all protests are resolved at an informal level. One of the best ways to file your appeal is to file it electronically online. It provides a lot of convenience for the property owners. You don't have to take off work to come in for an informal meeting with the appraiser. You can type in all of your comments about your property, give us your opinion of value, and you can upload any evidence that you might have, all online from the convenience of your home. And because it's so much more efficient for us, the e-file protests are the ones that get processed first. So you'll get processed earlier than other protests. But if you don't want to electronically file, you can still file by paper. You can submit your paper protest. After the notices are mailed, the value information is updated on our website. So you can go to our website to see if the value information is being displayed. That'll be an indication that we have mailed you a notice of appraised value. If the value is displayed there, but you haven't received your notice of appraised value, we ask people to please double check the mailing address that we have to make sure that we've got the correct mailing address for your property. If their mailing address is not correct, contact the appraisal district so that we can update your mailing address and get you a correct mailing address. But even though you haven't received that paper, or maybe you've misplaced, you can still file your protest. You can submit a letter of protest as long as you do it before the deadline. The Appraisal Review Board is an independent body of citizens from Travis County. They're all residents of Travis County, and they are appointed by the district administrative judge. And their role is to listen to the property owner's evidence and the district's evidence, weigh the evidence that is presented to them, and make a determination as to what the value should be. So it's quasi-judicial, but it's very informal. After your hearing with the Appraisal Review Board, you will be mailed by certified mail a board order, and on that board order it will list for you all of your options and the deadlines that you have in order to file. But there are 3 specific options that you have that you can continue your appeal beyond a formal hearing. Those options are arbitration, and there's a fee associated with all of these. But arbitration, the fee goes from anywhere from $450 to $1,050. It depends on the value of your property. Or you can go to the State Office of Administrative Hearings. The fee to file there is $1,500, which includes a $300 filing fee. Or you can go to district court, which tends to be the most expensive because it involves hiring a lawyer to file a lawsuit in district court. If you can't attend your formal hearing, you don't have to be there in person. You can submit an affidavit of testimony. It does need to be notarized because it is sworn testimony, but you can submit that and make that be your presentation in lieu of your physical appearance. Also want to caution property owners to make sure that they're being honest when they come in and testify to the appraisal district. Our records are public records, and we often find the appraisal district records being drawn in to litigation. A common example is when somebody claims a condition issue like foundation problems with their property, and they subsequently sell it, but they don't disclose it when they sell. Appraisal district records are being brought in into litigation. Also, anytime that you give false testimony to the appraisal district, particularly that sworn testimony, that can nullify any reduction that you get if it's proven to be false and subject you to criminal charges.
We hope this program has been helpful in clarifying the steps you need to take to protest your property value appraisal. If you have questions about your valuation, contact the appraisal district at the email below or visit their website, traviscad.org. Need a payment plan to pay your tax bill? Well, that happens in my office. Visit traviscountytax.org to learn more.